All right, I think we're live. Welcome to today's live stream. Today it's me and it's Board, and that's going to show you a bit about hierarchical customer segmentation in Crystallize. And with that, Board, I think you're up already.
Hi, Didrik. How's it going?
Good again.
Yeah, so topic of today is segmentation, meaning grouping of customers. Basically, we'll take a look at that and how that can build foundation for personalization, how you can affect promotion for different segments. And also we will discuss a little bit all the benefits of organizing your customers. I think we'll just jump straight into it. Basically, what we're talking about is the capability of organizing your customers into different segments. So in Crystallize, you can have, for example, here we have Jane Doe as a customer belonging to the B2C, and this is a user group, customer group. And then we've added also here, and this is, I would say, it's a little bit of a you do you situation where the naming here, we just chose to create a group called markets, and under markets we created members, Jane and Joe VIP, and then we also created a B2B segment where we have a couple of companies, and within the companies we also have a couple of actual users here. So we kind of have three different segments. We have the B2B customers, and then we have the B2C, but those are also divided into two. It's regular members and, let's say, VIP members, which is a quite, I would say, typical way to organize clients in a e-commerce scenario. You can also notice here that when you have a lot of customers, of course, you can search so that you can filter on any information on the client, making it easier also to find back a customer if you want to create an order or do some manual operations. But we're not going to talk so much about manual operations today. We're going to talk about how we can automate things.
So one thing though, what's the different icons for, because you have customers and organizations, and those basically share the same things, right? Except for an enum.
Yeah, so it's just two types of customers. Either it's an individual or organization. All right, so we have those two concepts, but it's all customer and customer objects, and you can place them in groups. Of course, then it's up to you to organize what makes sense for your business, right? Could be markets. This could be different countries. It could be different B2B markets. However you want to split up your customers. So that's a foundation that okay, I have different types of customers and I organize them somehow. And here we also have prepared, and we took the tenant that we did the content modeling live stream on, because how do you organize your products? And there's different approaches. Here we have, let's say, a main organization of, in this case, books, where we do have, it's basically Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones books in this example here that we have. And that's the primary or canonical location of the products. But in this case, we're looking for some sort of personalization. So what we decided to do was to create two different markets. Now, again, this is an example. We took B2C and B2B. Here we just directly associated just a few products because it's an example. But of course, here we can have different category structures with subfolders, subcategories to organize your products for different markets. So this is kind of the setup where we have some products that are available for different markets, and we have organized our customers according to segments or markets we have defined here. So that's the underlying data. Now, where do we take it from here, you say, Didrik? I'm thinking that as part of a shopping experience, we start with identifying the customer, right?
Like that you almost got a birthday.
Yeah, that's true. So Crystallize doesn't do authentication, which means that you need an authentication layer. It could be a magic link, like we have in several of our boilerplates, or you can use something like Auth0. But you need an identifier of the client. So if you look here at, let's say, Didrik, his identifier is Didrik December 9. So this is a unique identifier that you just have to make sure it fits with however you want to do authentication. It could be a UID or something like this also, if you use like Auth0 or some sort of authentication service. So those are both valid patterns. Some use phone number if it's a single market. Maybe you use email. So you do you again. But basically, as part of the login, in Crystallize, we want to fetch the customers. And in this case, I created a couple of different queries directly here. You would have your login code just doing one, but I'm doing four for one here because it was on sale. And here I'm first fetching Jane Doe, and I'm just fetching the customer information, and I also fetch the market, which I've defined here, where I can see this is a customer group which defines B2C. Okay, so I know that Jane Doe is part of the B2C market. And then I also have a Jane VIP, which essentially gives me information that this is the market members, right? So we have on login, we can fetch the customer based on the identifier, and then you have information on, oh, is this a B2C customer, generic visitor, you might see, or is it a VIP member? And then if you're also doing B2B, you might want to fetch like Didrik with his December 9 identifier. And here we see that this has a customer as a parent location. And then we just fetch that, and we see that this is a B2B organization. So we see that this is an organization, Crystallize Inc., part of the B2B segment. So all of this you can have in your login information to, not information, but login code to basically identify the customer. And then implicitly, you know the segments, right? And again, this goes just back to how you organized your clients in Crystallize. So from here, we can take it different directions. I first want to look at if I'm going to list products after login. You want to list products based on who you are. And here again, I took two queries for one. You would, based on the login, choose which query to do. But here I'm doing B2C products, which I'm fetching all the B2C products, which are books from Game of Thrones, I guess, yeah, the universe. And then alternatively, we have the B2B products, which is Lord of the Rings. Only example here is just to say, okay, different segments. We have different products that are listed on your product page, and you can do that programmatically by defining segments, and then make it as simple as you can use the location of the products as the route, so to speak, for how you're going to fetch your products. So just by organizing your customers and your products, where you can have products in multiple product category trees, then you have the foundation to build different storefronts based off of who the customer is.
Because this is now, of course, fetching the shortcuts, right?
Yeah, so what I did here basically is because the books live primarily under books and fantasy in this example here, and then if I go in and take a look at the particular book, The Hobbit, you can see that it's got a canonical. This is the concept that we call the main location for a product, and then it's shortcutted under B2C and also under horror in this example. But if you look at Game of Thrones, it's shortcutted under B2B. So that you can organize, and of course, it doesn't have to be different products for the different markets. It could just be organized differently, different product categories, meaning different navigation, things like this. So that's basically what we're fetching here, and this means that if I'm a B2B customer, I'm able to shop The Hobbit, and B2C, we're talking more Game of Thrones. I guess it was the opposite of that, but that's not the point. So let's take a look at the next level here, because okay, so you have your product list and you're building your storefront, but you want to have some pricing. And before I show here, I want to go back and just give you an idea of the setup here, because if I go and look at my books and look at the prices, I've set up basically retail and sales prices for all the products. And what I also did was say that, okay, I adjusted the sales price from the retail price with minus 10%. And I also did vanity so that it's, in this case, actual numbers and not 21.00 something. So this is kind of the first level of discounting that I set up, which is typically allowing you to define a price that all customers get this on discount. What we define as B2C, it's call it the default. So what we did there was to say, okay, in the shop API, you're able to manage the cart, which is a contextual API, where you, by giving it the context, you're able to basically have the API do calculations for you. So long story short, this is a B2C market. Customer is Jane Doe, and we have configured the retail as the compare at price and the sales as the selected price, which means that I have here for The Hobbit and the Two Towers, I have my price at 21 euros, which is not 10 because we did vanity pricing, remember? So it's a discount on this, which is given to all. So in total, I got 5 euros discount on this scenario. So this happens automatically once the context is configured.
And this is because you log in with Crystallize, you get the markets. Jane Doe, the identifier of the customer. Markets is the market that you define, B2C. And I guess I, in this case, would get a B2B market.
That is correct. We'll get to you. We have another Jane to look at first.
Okay.
But yeah, it's correct. It's nothing more than, this is just a naming convention that matches here. So it's just defining the customer group, matching it to a market. And yes, we have defined markets in Crystallize. We have the B2B and the B2C markets here. Okay, so that's the simplest example, where we have just a regular discount for any type of customer. But for a different context, so let's take a look here at a customer group combination with the B2C. So here we combine market with a customer group context, right? So it's still the B2C market, but we've defined it's the customer group members, which is in this case could be a sub-market also, but we just chose to use this as a customer group definition here, because maybe more semantically correct to call it that. And here we have the Jane VIP customer, still buying the same stuff, Hobbit and Two Towers. And basically here, we see that, okay, I'm hydrating this cart, and I see applied promotion member discount. And here, I actually have 40%, 40% total saving 22 euros and 40% discount. How, you might say, Didrik?
I can take a guess, but I do think you know the answer, though.
Yeah. No, so, but this is just so you can use price variance, right, for setting discounts for the store as a whole, or it could also be a market. I could have a member price where I can set it as a price variant, where you on each SKU define the price for members. But often you want to do it a little bit fancier. And in this example, we're using the shop API to set a member promotion, so member discount for 25, and then we're basically just triggering the members, customer group members. And we can also then, of course, if we want to tweak it just to show that it's live, I can say it only targets the Hobbit 1 SKU. It gives 40% discount because we use the mechanism percentage and the value of 40. Okay, so I change this now, and if I rerun this, we will see that Hobbit is still on discount, but the Two Towers is not. Well, it is, but it's on the generic B2C discount, right? Which was the approximately 10% vanity pricing that we looked at, giving me a total of 22% discount here. So we can combine both then the cart-specific membership discounts that applies to certain SKUs for certain customers. Doesn't have to be on SKU level. It could be based on topics, on path, etc. But that's at least a good example of how you can set the context. And that's the only thing we've done. You just define the context of the B2C market and the customer group members. That's it. And still we have the selected and compare at prices, because you have to say, okay, if you're going to display a discount, I have my sales price, but how do I know it's a discount? You have to compare with some price variant, and that's what we've set for default, which is in our case the price called retail. So that's a little bit how you want to configure your pricing strategy. But for B2B, Didrik, as you're defined in this here, with Didrik December 9,
I'm ready.
that's part of the B2B segment. And of course, I could do the same here. I could create a promotion that just targets B2B. Totally fine. But often in B2B, we find that customers actually have negotiated specific prices for some or all of their products. So this means that in this example, we created a price list where we just added the Game of Thrones books, which is, as we agreed on, the B2B books. And here we targeted this to the B2B market, and we set the prices to absolute, which basically means that whatever you enter here on the price variant, this is actually not a discount, so we can give it 7. That's the absolute price, so it's a specific price given to specific products. So this is the third example here in terms of setting the context then. If we look at the B2B cart, surprise, surprise, we just set the context with the market. So that's the only thing we do. We define market, and if there's a specific customer group, we also add it to that. So that just by defining the context, again, we get the context from the login information from the user, which just reflects the structure of your customers and the customer groups you place them in, or if you also have organizations, which company do they belong to, things like this. So last example then. Let's just buy some Game of Thrones books. And here we see that I have, my price is 10. So it's 56% and 54% discount here. And it's 25 euros total discount, and I pay 10 for each book because that's what my price list said. So it gives us quite a lot of maneuverability by being able to set at the top level. You have the price variance in Crystallize, where you can say, okay, this is on sale, everybody gets this price. You can create membership promotions, meaning campaigns that apply to a sub-segment, or you can also use the price lists and apply them to particular segments. So it's kind of 3 levels of segmentation of customers and of providing discounts.
And also for both price lists and promotions, you can set the intervals, like periods. This only applies for XYZ amount of days, months, or Black
Friday, Christmas, Easter, holiday discounts, schedule weekly campaigns, things like this. Or you can just say, okay, I'm not defining any periods, and then it's just valid for so long as you have it defined. So a lot of power in combining these types of pricing, and we find that usually you use a combination of all of them. So that where you have the main prices with price variance, what's displayed as the retail price and maybe a sales price on your web shop. Maybe you have periodical campaigns that affect the catalog. That's where price list goes in. It affects the catalog. And then we have the promotion, which affects the cart. So in the cart context, what's the customer, which other products have I added to the cart, etc. So that you can have 3 for 2, you can have...
That's the trigger and targets that you can see here.
Exactly. What triggers it, and what should we make discount? If you don't define targets, it's everything. And then you can define mechanisms. How do you want us to calculate the discount here? So that's it, short and sweet, all on API level, and giving you a lot of maneuverability. And of course, other examples here that we see is, okay, maybe I want to ship something to Didrik, but I want to create the invoice to Crystallize, for example, so that by having this structure, you will be able to, for example, create an order on Didrik, and he is actually wanting to buy The Hobbit in paperback and hardcover. And of course, then you can configure this both directly on the customer, that it's shipped to him, but the company receives the invoice and the order, or that you do this via the webhooks and the fulfillment pipelines to allow for flexibility there. So it gives you a lot of maneuverability on how things are priced, and also they are fulfilled.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I guess that's it for today, Mr. Didrik.
I think it is. So don't forget to subscribe if you want to see the next one as well. We're probably going to dive even further into this because there's a lot to cover when it comes into promotions, customers, and how to structure everything that has to do with it. But probably not the next one.
Subscribe and you will see what the next one is. It's quite interesting what we will do next Thursday. But until then, have a good one.
See you.